Bernie Sanders just said something that could change how you work forever. In a recent interview, he argued that AI should give workers a 4-day work week instead of just making billionaires richer. But here's what's shocking. This isn't just political talk. Companies in Japan, the UK, and Iceland have already tested this, and Microsoft Japan saw a 40% jump in output during its trial. We're talking about productivity boosts that completely transformed how these companies operate, and workers who reported dramatically improved well-being. So why isn't everyone doing this? And more importantly, could AI actually make the dream of working less while earning the same a reality for millions of people? The actual data from these experiments tells a story that nobody expected. The real-world evidence is already here. When Microsoft Japan announced their 2019 trial, most people expected maybe a small bump in worker happiness at the cost of some productivity. Instead, they got a 40% productivity increase that left executives scrambling to figure out what actually happened. The Microsoft experiment involved 2,300 employees who got every Friday off for 5 weeks straight. But the productivity boost wasn't just about people working harder on their 4 days. The company found employees held roughly 25% fewer meetings while using significantly less electricity and printing far fewer pages. Workers weren't just more productive, they were working smarter. Employee surveys showed stress levels dropped significantly, and job satisfaction scores hit levels the company had never seen before. Now scale that up to the massive UK trial that tested 61 companies across different industries for 6 months. This wasn't just tech companies either. We're talking about marketing agencies, financial services, healthcare organizations, and manufacturing firms. The average revenue increase was 1.4% across all participating companies, proving that shorter work weeks could actually boost the bottom line. What made these results even more interesting was how companies measured success differently. Traditional metrics like output per hour mattered, but companies started tracking things like employee turnover, sick days, and recruitment costs. One UK company found their staff turnover dropped by 65% during the trial. Another saw sick leave fall by 71%. These weren't just feel-good statistics, they translated into real cost savings. Iceland took this concept national. Starting in 2015, they ran trials involving 2,500 workers across government offices and public services. By 2021, roughly 90% of Iceland's workforce had negotiated shorter working hours without pay cuts. Their economy didn't collapse. Instead, Iceland maintained some of the highest productivity rates in Europe, while worker stress levels dropped across the board. Implementation success varied by local work culture and industry. Creative agencies and knowledge work companies generally saw the biggest productivity gains. Manufacturing firms had mixed results depending on how they restructured their operations. Retail companies faced the biggest challenges because customer-facing roles couldn't easily compress into 4 days without affecting service quality. The most surprising finding wasn't about productivity at all. It was about how dramatically worker well-being improved. Employees reported better sleep, stronger family relationships, and more time for personal development. In Iceland's trials, workers used their extra time for exercise, spending time with family, and pursuing hobbies. Mental health indicators improved across almost every participating organization. Companies also discovered unexpected benefits they hadn't planned for. Environmental impact decreased as offices used less energy and employees commuted less. Some firms found they could attract better talent by offering 4-day schedules. Others reported that their teams became more collaborative because everyone knew time was limited. The data shows shorter work weeks can work, but success depends heavily on how companies implement them and what industry they're in. But there's still one massive question that could change everything about this equation: how AI changes the productivity equation. AI fundamentally changes how we think about productivity and work hours. Unlike previous technologies that automated physical tasks, AI automates cognitive work, the thinking, analyzing, and decision-making that humans have always done. That's a completely different situation. Current AI tools excel at routine cognitive tasks across multiple industries. In marketing, AI writes first drafts of email campaigns and social media posts. Financial analysts use AI to process market data that would take human teams weeks to analyze. Graphic designers using AI tools can create 3 logo concepts in the time it used to take for one. Here's where the economics get interesting. Let's say AI boosts your productivity by 25%. Under the current system, that extra productivity goes straight to your company's bottom line. Shareholders get richer, but you still work the same hours for the same pay. Bernie Sanders argues this is backwards. If AI makes you 25% more productive, you should work 25% fewer hours for the same pay. The math actually works out. If a worker produces 100 units in 40 hours, and AI helps them produce 125 units in the same time, they could theoretically produce those same 100 units in 32 hours. The company maintains its output, the worker gets an extra day off, and everyone wins. Knowledge workers, programmers, writers, analysts, designers see the biggest AI productivity gains right now. Manufacturing and service jobs face different challenges. A restaurant server can't use AI to take orders 25% faster if customers still need time to decide what they want. A factory worker operating machinery can't speed up production if the machines have physical limits. Sectors tied to physical constraints or direct customer interaction will see smaller gains from AI implementation. The timing question is crucial. Most experts predict we're still 5 to 10 years away from AI being sophisticated enough to enable widespread 4-day work weeks across multiple industries. Current AI tools are powerful, but limited to routine tasks, while complex reasoning and creativity remain challenging. Automation plays a key role here too. As AI gets better at handling routine work, companies can maintain operations with fewer human hours. Some accounting firms already use AI to process routine tasks, freeing up accountants to focus on financial planning and client consultation. The real potential comes when AI advancement hits a tipping point. Right now, AI helps workers do their jobs better. In the future, AI might handle entire categories of work independently, making shorter human work weeks not just possible but necessary. AI could be the missing piece that makes shorter work weeks economically sustainable at scale, but only if we make deliberate choices about how to distribute those productivity gains. The technology creates the possibility, but the outcome depends entirely on policy decisions and social choices we haven't fully confronted yet. The economic and social counter-argument. Despite all this evidence pointing to success, many companies remain hesitant about adopting 4-day work weeks. The counter-arguments reveal legitimate concerns that extend far beyond simple workplace policy. The competitive disadvantage argument worries business leaders most. Imagine running a consulting firm that switches to a 4-day schedule while competitors stick with 5 days. Your clients might start going to firms that can respond to urgent requests on Fridays. In industries like finance, where markets operate globally across time zones, being unavailable 1 day per week could mean losing millions in trading opportunities. A law firm that can't take client calls on Fridays might lose cases to competitors who can. But the UK trial data suggests this concern might be overblown. Many of those 61 companies initially worried about competitive disadvantages too, but they found ways to maintain client service through better scheduling and more efficient operations. Some even used their 4-day schedule as a competitive advantage for recruiting top talent. Critics also worry that giving workers an extra day off just creates opportunities for them to take on additional employment. If someone works their main job Monday through Thursday, then drives for Uber or does freelance work on Friday, have we actually improved their work-life balance? This concern gets more complicated when you consider that many workers already have side hustles. The fundamental question is whether mandated work restrictions actually help workers or create new problems. Some economists argue that ambitious workers who want to work more hours will find ways around these restrictions, potentially creating a 2-tier system. High-skilled workers might use their extra day for consulting or freelance projects that boost their income, while low-skilled workers might not have those same opportunities. Different economic systems would handle this transition in completely different ways. In countries with strong social safety nets, shorter work weeks might work better because workers have more security. In economies that rely heavily on individual competition and entrepreneurship, Mandated work restrictions might create unintended consequences. Businesses face substantial implementation costs too. Companies need to restructure operations and invest in manager training to maintain coverage and productivity. Small businesses might struggle with these costs more than large corporations, potentially widening the gap between different types of employers. There's also the bigger economic question of whether reducing work hours across society might slow economic growth. If everyone works 20% fewer hours, does the economy shrink by 20%? The productivity gains from AI might offset this, but we don't know for sure. Perhaps most interesting is what happens to society when people have significantly more leisure time. Longer free time raises fundamental questions about how we define work's role in life and what kind of economic system we want to build around emerging technologies. These aren't just policy debates, they're conversations about the kind of society we want to create. The real question isn't whether AI can enable shorter work weeks. The evidence shows it can. The question is who benefits from AI's productivity gains. Right now, most AI advantages flow to shareholders and executives. But there's an alternative path, using those gains to give workers more time with their families, for education, or whatever they want to do with their lives. Bernie Sanders framed this as a fundamental choice about how we distribute technological progress. AI's productivity boosts can either pad corporate profits or fund a shorter work week for millions of people. The outcome depends entirely on the policy decisions we make today. What would you actually do with an extra day off each week? Let me know in the comments below.